Hello, Namaste and Sat Shri Akal. I'm Gagan, Head of School at Pro Color School of Photography and Filming. I'm here on this beautiful island of Vanuatu to work on a film project, and with me I have Tom, an experienced and certified cinematographer from Australia. So Tom, you have been involved in so many film projects and you have traveled the world filming. So what's your inspiration behind this?
Well, basically, I started photography when I was very little. About 8 years old, I bought a camera, and I just only wanted to understand how a camera worked. But slowly, that developed into the photography as an interest in itself. I went to high school, and studied photography and arts, and eventually I took on as a part-time job photographing weddings and all that, and then that developed into a career in itself. Then I started dabbling a bit more in filmmaking and cinematography, and as you know, that photography is really similar to what cinematographers are. The only difference is one's still and one's just motion. So the thinking is very similar in some ways, but you also have to be a step ahead because we're talking about moving images. And I quite like that. And it's all about creating story, like photography is creating stories, one with a single frame, one with multiple frames. And it becomes like an art form, and I developed an interest in creating this art form of telling storytelling.
So what kind of equipment do you use generally, and what are some of the reasons for you to choose this particular equipment?
Like a handyman, each camera is actually like a tool, and it serves a different purpose. So if I was going to do a job for an interview, or I would basically use one of these. They're quite big, but the reason is that they're easier to hold, more comfortable, but essentially they also have capabilities of adding more attachments, like a separate monitor or a microphone, so we can actually pick up better quality sound. It is a bit of a nuisance to carry around, and it takes a bit of time to set up. Where I need to run and gun a lot, I would use something like this. It's because it also gives me the ability to be a bit more discreet. So sometimes, you know, you hold a bigger camera, people will come and question you. But if I hold something like this, they just think I'm a tourist or I'm just an everyday guy just doing his own interest. So this is very handy. So generally when I do a job, I always carry these two around. Then you have you know, the underwater cameras, you know, and there is weatherproof where I need to get some time lapse or whatever. I'll run these shots with these cameras. And then now, where occasion allows me, something like a drone, you know. A drone is great. It gives me a great establishing shot. It helps develop the story a bit more, and it makes the vision more interesting. But again, it's just a tool, and you might not have the time to use it. But like any of these equipment I have, and anyone can use it once they know or have access to it.
So are you always keeping the same lens on your FS5, or you do change it sometimes?
Yes. Well, basically the lens is like a tool for me as well. I have so many different lenses, and the reason is just for different jobs we'll use different lenses. If I was going to do a job what we call run and gun, where I need to move fast, then the zoom lens on a camera like this is so handy. I can go from wide angle to a close-up with just styling up here, so it's very quick. Where this is convenient, it actually uses quality in aspects, say low light. So when I need to have a much better image quality, say in low light, or I want to blur the background, something like a prime lens will offer the best choice. But having said that, these will slow you down. and because they have one fixed focal length, it makes it very hard to always just change it on the go. So with these type of lens, it's also heavy. So you've got to have to be properly set up for it. So yeah, it comes at a cost of the convenience, but you've got image quality. So it all depends on what you want to tell the story in the frame, and that lens will give you the perspective.
So do you have any advice or recommendation for our students who are currently pursuing their filmmaking courses with us?
Well, I guess coming from a background that's self-taught, it's good, but I wouldn't really advise it in this stone age, simply because we have the internet as one tool with you know, a lot of people giving advice on YouTube and all that. So that's great to get the latest information and also different techniques. But I still prefer that people go back to a professional film school or photography school, something like yours probably, and essentially it helps you to understand, develop your skills, as well as fast track in what you wanted to do. And the environment also gives you more personal interaction. So having to understand that filmmaking is also about dealing with people. It'll be teamwork. So as a cinematographer, I would also sometimes have camera assist, gaffer and all that. I need to tell them or direct them in how I want things done. And as well as directing with the talents and all that. So yes, that's very important with the film school. Essentially also, with me, I wish when I was young, I went back to the film school. I went back to the film school in a later life because I thought it was knowledge that I need to build up to understand more about what's available in the technology and the techniques. And film school gives me that access to equipment that you normally don't. And that's really essential if you're wanting to be a film cinematographer, because you want hands-on on more expensive equipment that you don't normally get access to. And obviously the third thing I would say is to have a lot of practice time. Practice shooting, practice in creating stories, and practice on also engaging with people. And that would help you develop your skills further.
Cool. So thank you very much, Tom, for giving me your time and talking about this amazing stuff. And I'm sure that this will help our students as well as our online viewers to get better with their shooting skills. Thank you once again.